Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be ranking all of the eyeshadow palettes that I have tried and received in the year 2020. Now, I've been working on this video for like a solid month and a half, and since I started the process of revisiting all of the palettes, I've seen some other people do this video. I know Samantha March recently just did one. And there's a bunch of people who have done this style of video. So I finally made it through them all, and I am going to rank them. I believe there are, am I missing one? No, I think there's 10. There's actually 13, but I'm lumping a bunch into one. You'll see. So that is what we're doing today. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jamie. I do beauty videos twice a week. I would love it if you would subscribe before you go, and if you guys would like to see me rank my eyeshadow palettes from 2020, then keep on watching. Alright, so if you guys watched my Get Ready With Me life update, then you already know I am moving. And I guess I'm glad that I started preparing to do this video when I did, because I didn't know at the time that I was going to be moving. But I'm doing a declutter, so this actually, it's good because I went through a bunch of my palettes. Now I will be decluttering some of these, so I won't have them at the end of the year to do like a recap or anything. So it's good to do this video because I can recall what I like, what I don't like. I have to declutter because I'm doing such a long distance move. So if I don't love it, I can't keep it, which is actually kind of good in a way. But again, at the end of the year, I won't have some of the things I didn't like, so I'll just reference this video and I'll remember. Let's just go ahead and jump into it. Number 10. Now, I haven't used this palette a ton, but well, before I jump into that, let me just say, all of the palettes in this ranking are pretty good. Like, I don't think there's any that I don't like. Like, I straight up don't like them. I think they're all really good, but, like, somebody's got to be on the bottom. You know what I mean? Number 10 is from Pop Beauty. This is their Dusk Deluxe palette. It looks like this. I mean, look at it on camera. It's so pretty. I mean, it's very pretty, but the pigment wasn't really, especially on these like baked shadows, it was like alright. Like there wasn't anything super like foiled or metallic about them. They're like kind of like marbled, and they're just like okay. This shade here, this cream shade, was pretty decent. But, like, they're just, like, very muted. There's nothing, like, really crazy about them. Now, I did try the glitter, and I do like the glitter. A lot of glitter comes off, and it does stay on. Like, it applies, like, pretty opaque for a glitter, which is very impressive. Like, the glitters are really good. This shade here is very velvety, but then, like, it's not super, like, I guess it is. This one is actually pretty good. But even though there's a lot of pigment coming off, it's just missing something. Like, that one is reading kind of more satin than foiled. And in the pan, it looks like it's going to be like a foiled metallic. So, I mean, and then the mattes are fine. Like, this shade here is nice. And that's this guy. The mattes were fine. It's just an okay palette. Like, it's not bad, and it's not like it didn't knock my socks off. You know what I mean? So that's why it came in at number 10. All right, so number 9 is the Tropical Vibes palette from Revlon. I really did like this palette when I tested it out. I did test this in a video, and I liked it. The pigment is awesome. The shades are beautiful. Like, everything about this palette's great, except, see this blue? Like, this is what I'm talking. I mean, I want a little bit of pigment. I get that it's affordable, but, like, you can still give me something. You know what I mean? This palette is giving it to me. I love the pigment. I love the colors. It's a good palette. Packaging is kind of cheap, like it's plastic, but it's the drugstore. I mean, what do you expect? I like the little design on it, the tropical vibes, like that's cute. The reason this one lost points is because this bronzer and these two shades are so close together that when you dip your brush into the bronzer, it picks up these two colors no matter what you do. I mean, I've tried pinching my brush and still some of this color ends up getting picked up by the bristles and it ends up on my face. And that's a fail. If it was next to the highlighter, it wouldn't be ideal, but like it's better than blue and peach metallic, you know what I mean, being where my bronzer is supposed to go. So that's why this one lost some points. Other than that, I mean, formula's good. Like I said, all of these palettes are good. They're fine. They're nothing bad. It's just like little things, you know, that either bumped them up or down the list. So that's why this one is number 9. Number 8 is, I'm chunking 4 palettes into number 8 because they're all the same brand. And this is a brand called Hip Dot. Now, Hip Dot actually, I don't know if you guys heard of Kesha doing a makeup line. She did it with this brand, Hip Dot. And I did a project with them, and they sent me a ton of palettes. And I did test one out on camera, and I'm trying to make a video. These are beautiful. Beautiful. Like, love the variety of color stories. This one's kind of the jewel tone palette. They all have like pressed glitters in them. This one is straight up all glitter, which just, I mean, this is eye candy right here. Like, look at that. Woo! I love this. And I haven't even used this palette yet. I've used the glitter formula though, so I know what the glitter formula is, but I haven't even dipped into this. But like, would you ever need another glitter? I don't think so. It's so pretty just to look at. This one, this is the one I think I used on camera. I created a look on camera. This is like a wine, has a wine theme. It's called Napa. And beautiful. Love this color story. Probably my favorite just because this is like my cup of tea color-wise. This shadow was so soft it shattered pretty quickly, which is really disappointing because it's like one of the prettiest shadows in here. I love this row of glitter. Super fun. These came in at number 8. I mean, their packaging is pretty interesting. It has this little thing so you can set it up as like a mirror if you're traveling. So that gives it bonus points too. I don't know why it's number 8, if I'm being honest. Like, why I ranked these number 8. Just because they had to go somewhere on the list and there were other palettes that I reach for more. Like, I just don't reach for them. I guess that's why I bumped them, because I just don't reach for them. I'm going to be decluttering 3 of them. And, like, the packaging is somewhat bulky for, like, palettes. You know what I mean? Like, these 4 palettes, like, they're kind of fat. You know, and I don't know. I'm keeping the glitter one, the full glitter one, because it's a full glitter palette. And the other 3 I think I'm going to declutter just because I have other palettes in these color stories that I use more. And it's not that I don't like them, and it's not that they're not good, and the packaging is pretty, and everything about it's good. It's just, I have other stuff. You know what I mean? Number 7, almost got worse marks. That is the ABH Amrezy collaboration. I reviewed this on camera. Purchased this with my own money. When I look at this, it's stunning. Like, I love it. It's so pretty. I love these shades. It's great. Whenever I use this palette, and I use the pressed glitters, and this is the reason why I got this palette, was because it's the first ABH palette that ever did pressed glitters. I think the problem with the glitters in this palette is they're pressed too soft, just like their shadows are pressed. You know, like everybody complains about ABH shadows being super powdery and having tons of fallout, and it's because they're not pressed very firm in the pan. So they're soft, They give you immense color payoff right out of the gate. Easy to blend, but you get a lot of follow. Well, the same is true for the glitters. Exactly the same. They're not pressed hard enough, or there's not enough glue, but every time I wear them, I have glitter all over my face. All over my face. Glitter shower all up in my foundation. And I cannot tell you how much I hate that. It is a pet peeve. I don't like that. I want my glitter to stay on my eyes. Don't mess up my base. It took me a long time to do it. But the shades, this glitter shade is just a stunner. This is called Liddy. And it is one of the most beautiful glitter shades. It's got like bronze and pink. It's so, so pretty. I love it so much. But like, even as I swatch it, it's almost like there's no glue in it. And even with a glitter glue, I find this just still ends up all over my face. I don't understand it. So I almost ranked this pretty low on this list, which it still is on the bottom half of the list, but I used it again recently without the glitter, and I just created a look, and I wore it in a video. What video was it? It was a video I did recently. Oh, my Amazon haul. So I tried it again. I wore it in my Amazon haul video, and it's beautiful. I do like it. The glitters are a little bit disappointing. I need like a glitter glue that's like super glue in order to mess with these glitters. But the shadows themselves, they're true ABH, and the colors are stunning. So I bumped it up the list because I'm like, no, I really do like it. I love the packaging and the pinks, and I really do like it. I do like it. So number 6 on the list is from e.l.f. And these are the bite-size mini palettes. These are so good. Oh gosh, I love these. These are $3, 4 shades. They have like 7 different ones you can get. Such a good like price point for what you get. And they're awesome. They blend out well. They're pigmented. The foiled shadows are actually foiled. And yeah, I love the color stories on these. The mattes are really buttery. I really like them. I'm just going to give you a couple of swatches here so that you can get an idea. Like these are really good. And I did a video on them, created a look and everything. Really impressed. They got bonus points for the price point versus the quality. Like some of the best formula, like probably one of the best formulas at the drugstore, you know, in terms of price point. You know what I'm saying? So like these are not shitty. For $3 you would think that they would be bad. No, these are great. They got ranked higher than ABH. What? I know. Number 5 on the list, this is from another drugstore brand. This is from Wet n Wild, and this is the collaboration they did with Bretman Rock. I really like this palette. It's very bright and colorful, so it's not something I reach for often. There isn't really a transition shade in here, but why that's okay is because the formula on these is so good that you can blend any of these. You can just apply, like, let's say the hot pink without a transition shade, and it blends out so good that the edge will almost become a transition shade on its own. You would think putting a shadow like these colors, they would be harder to blend out without a transition shade, but they're not. These are really easy to blend out, and they're really pigmented, and I love the greens. I love these greens. Look at that color. Look at that color. Drugstore. Are you kidding? So beautiful. And I think this palette was limited edition. There's only 2 shades in it that I didn't think were up to par, and it was these 2. These really just didn't swatch. Like, this blue looks pretty darn blue in the pan, But when I swatched it, it was really more muted. Like, does that? No. No. Like the green, the way that green came off, I was expecting the blue to do the same. So that's why it got a few points knocked off, just because those two were not consistent with the rest of the palette. But the rest of these shades are freaking stunning. Like, look at this one. So foiled and beautiful. And yeah, highly impressed with that one. The best Wet n Wild formula they've done, for sure. Which doesn't surprise me that Bretman Rock would put his name on this, because it's really good. Number 4. Okay, so I don't know if all of these palettes released in 2020. I know for sure number 4 did not. But these are all palettes I've tried in 2020. And I don't think I said that in the beginning of the video. But number 4 is from Natasha Denona. This is her Safari palette. I got this in 2020. This was a gift from a subscriber. And I love it so much. What can I say? It's so, so beautiful. This is a full matte palette. This by no means was released this year. I think it was actually released last year. But, oh my gosh. The pigment, the colors, like, I can't even deal. I can't even deal. I love it so much. Now, oh, that was a terrible swatch, team. What are you doing? Now, these are, like, super, I don't know if these are pressed pigments or what. They are definitely more work than maybe some other formulas that I've tried in my day. You know, blending them out and stuff. Like, look at how rich. This is my favorite shade in the whole palette, which is this. It's kind of like a gray, blue, green color. And then this shade, Savannah, it's like an olive green. I love it so much. But all of the shades, like, I just feel very inspired when I look at this. I love it. I think it's so good. Would I have paid full price for this? No, probably not. I still don't think $130 for her palettes is an acceptable price point. I do not think so. I do not think so. Even with this pan being this big, I mean, let's compare. These pans were the same size. So, yeah, you know, I like Natasha Denona's shadows. I really do. This was on sale. I got it as a gift, but this was on sale, I want to say, for $65 or something like that, or $80, something. It was on sale. And I think it was $65, and $65 is much more civilized of a price point. I can get down with $65 for a Natasha Denona palette. Totally. $130 though, I'm still having a tough time with. But I do love this palette. Taking the price point sort of into consideration, but not, because it was on sale to everybody. $65. And for that, it's good. Because at $130, I would definitely have to knock off points. But I just love it. It makes me want to play with makeup. And, you know, as I declutter my eyeshadow palettes, I'm really looking at, do I get excited when I open this palette and look at it? Do I get excited? And when I look at this, I get excited. You know what I mean? And I feel like your eyeshadow palettes really should give that to you. And if they're not making you excited to look at them, to play with them, do you really need it? I don't know. Number 3 on the list, controversial. This palette had a lot of mixed reviews, and that is the Naked Ultraviolet palette. Reviewed this in a video. I personally really like this palette. Now, it is not ridiculously pigmented out of the gate where you are going to be blown away at the ridiculously foiled holy shitballsness of it all. Like, it's just not, that's not what this is. You have to remember that this is a Naked series, so it's supposed to be approachable. That's the whole point of it, right? So that anybody can do it. So, I mean, they're pigmented, but they're not going to come off on your eyes so pigmented that you're not going to know what to do, because it's going to take 100 years to blend out. This is the type of shadow that you will have to build it to get a bolder look. So if you want something soft and subtle, easy. You're going to get that from this. So if you're somebody who's traditionally shy when it comes to color, you don't have to be worried about this. This is a palette you could use, and it's not going to be too intense for you to use. But if you're somebody who likes really vibrant, really bold, really dramatic looks, you'll just have to work for it a little bit more with this palette, you know, because they're not, I don't know, crazy. This shade is really beautiful though, this Lucid shade in the middle. I really like this one. Oh, I ran out of swatch room here. I need to wipe my arms down. So anyway, I've created some really pretty looks, I think, with this. Really dramatic and really soft. I've gone both directions, but every single time I do a look with this palette, I get compliments on it. And I'm a huge naked fan. Like, Reloaded is like my fave. Heat, Honey, like I love them. Cherry I didn't like, I will say. That's my least favorite. But this is really good. I really like it. It's just, you have to manage your expectations with it. If you think that you're going to get it and it's going to be like that ABH foiled metallic vibe, it's not that. That's not what this palette is. You know? Can't get mad at a palette for being something it isn't. You know what I mean? Number 2 on the list, this did not release in 2020, but I received it in 2020. And that is the Tatin Beauty Volume 1 Textured Neutrals, or Textured Neutrals Volume 1, however you want to say it. And that is this palette. There is a lot of reasons why this is number 2. And up until recently, it probably would have been number 1. The reason is I use it all the time, because this color story is so everyday friendly, but also really great for like adding drama. So you can go really natural for an everyday, you can go in middle of the road, and you can go super dramatic for a girls' night out. You could do a date night. You can do anything you want with this palette, because it's all here. Is there pops of color? Aside from like these and the cranberries, no. I mean, it's a neutral, textured neutrals, right? But if you're a neutral girl, and I mean, I think this palette's like $49. Investing in this is like, what else do you need? You've got all these different finishes. You've got a metallic finish. You've got your sequin, which has like the little glitter flecks in it. You have your matte and you have your glitter. So you've got a lot here to play with, and I was finding this palette to be my go-to palette off camera. Now, when I go on dates, which doesn't happen these days in Corona times, like I'm not dating right now, but when I would go on dates, I always reached for the Naked Reloaded palette. But I can create similar looks with this palette as well. But when I'm off camera and I'm not like reviewing products or, you know, testing things out, this is the one I was using all of the time. So that's why I got number 2. And then something came out recently and it got bumped. But I'm still reaching for this over and over. And I do have to pack like an everyday makeup collection. And I say collection because I need to pack a makeup collection that is edited, because I'm going to be staying at my mom's for a while during the move. I don't know. I think I told you guys this. Actually, no, I don't think I knew at the time that I filmed my Get Ready With Me, but I won't be moving into the house until probably October 1st. And I'm going to be at my mom's around August 21st or 2nd. So I don't know when you're going to be seeing this video. I might already be there, but because I'm doing a bunch of pre-filming. But I need to have a collection of makeup that doesn't get packed away for a month and a half. So I'm having to really be strategic. And this is definitely, I mean, this was not even a question that I was going to pack this. And what else? I could just probably bring this and be done with it, honestly. All right, so number one for right now, where we're at, as I film this today, it is the 2nd of August. So as of now, my number one palette is the Natasha Denona Bronze palette. And I did review this, and when I reviewed it, I had a different actual palette because when Sephora sent this to me, I ordered it and it came smashed to bits. There were like half the palette was in crumbs. It was really bad. And I performed surgery and tried to, you know, repair it with rubbing alcohol, which I did, but they ended up sending me a new one, and this is it. This is the new one. So my camera shut off, and I don't know exactly where I was and what I was saying, and then in trying to figure that out, I realized that my fan's been on the whole time. I'm so sorry. I have this issue happen to me all the time because it's so hot in this room, so while I'm preparing to film, I turn the fan on, and then I forget to turn it off. And then you guys have to listen to it throughout the video, so I'm really sorry about that. I just turned it off to discuss the last palette, of course. So yeah, so this is what I have on my eyes right now, and I think that it gives such a beautiful duochrome effect that you might not expect in the pan. Like, it's just, I used my finger to apply it. It's really beautiful. And an interesting choice to put in this palette. I will say that it did get a lot of mixed reviews. People saying like certain shades are too similar. Like all of the metallic shades are very close in shade, like in tone. And I will agree. There are a few things she could have done a little differently. Like True Copper, and I'm going to tell you right now, this formula is money. And I've tried a few of her palettes now, and I think this is my favorite. It's my favorite one. So these shades are all very similar, as you can see. Some are a little deeper, some are a little lighter. But here's what she said. I watch her Insta stories all through quarantine, and I'm obsessed with her makeup technique, and she's a really good teacher. So I was watching all of her stories. But she explained it this way. She separated the palette into undertone. So you've got yellow undertones, you've got red undertones, and you've got some orange undertones. And that's how she set it up. So while this shade looks similar to this shade is more of a red undertone, and this one is a yellow undertone, and this one is more of an orange undertone. So that's why she did it that way. And she's got lots of different formulas. She's got her duochrome formula, her metallic formula, and her matte, and she's got one cream to powder. This is a duochrome, and the cream to powder is the deep dark shade in here called Deep Dive. And this is like, I'm glad she has this in here because you don't really need a black with this. Like, if you're somebody who gets pissed when there's no black in a palette, you won't, because this is deep enough that it does the job of black just fine. Very dark. So I really love this, and you know, you might look at this and be like, yeah, but like how many looks can you create theoretically with a palette like that? I've created a lot a lot of different looks, and like this look I have on now is like nothing I've created so far with the palette. So you can do a lot with it, more than you think. So this one will definitely be coming with me to my mom's as well. So when I do film or whatever, just for normal, everyday purposes, I have been using this a lot, just like as an everyday palette. I didn't think I would use it quite that much because the one thing I don't like about this palette, I wish there was one foiled metallic that was more of a champagne. Like silk is as close as it gets, and it's still pretty deep in tone. I would have liked to have a lighter shade for my lid, and you know, maybe something a little bit lighter for the crease. You've got nothing for your inner corner in this palette and nothing for your brow bone in this palette. So those are downsides to it, but that's really the only downsides. I just love it so much. I think it's just so beautiful. I want Biba so badly because I would just want a neutral version of this, and I think Biba is pretty much that, except for the fact that Biba doesn't have as many shimmers in it as this palette does. I would love to see a version of the bronze palette in a $65 price point, because that's part of that. If this was $130, I wouldn't even own it right now. But I would like to see a neutral version in a $65 price point that has kind of like Reloaded, like Urban Decay Naked Reloaded, where it's like just your normal neutral palette, you know, that has like your browns and your champagnes, and you know what I'm saying. But that is it for the palettes that I have tried in 2020. I did recently try the new Revlon Wonder Woman palette. I've only created one look with it. It doesn't have a bronzer in it, so I don't think I'm going to have that issue with my brush. There's 2 highlights in it. The formula is still as good as the Tropical Vibes, but I literally only used it once, so I didn't really want to include it in the video because I want to be fair and give everybody a fair shot. But that is all because through the spring I was on a no-buy, so I didn't try anything really new except for the e.l.f. palettes because of how affordable they were. But I went on kind of a no-buy during quarantine, so that we didn't all buy things we didn't need when we were in a pandemic. So that's pretty much it. Those are the palettes that I've been playing with for 2020, and those are my thoughts. I want to hear from you guys. What did you think about the palettes that I ranked? Have you tried any of them? What do you think? Any palettes you've tried in 2020 that I didn't try that you think I should try? I want to know. Leave me a comment, and if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell so you never miss when I upload a video. You can follow me on social. My handle's @GlamLatte. And don't forget the Glam Latte Beauty Podcast is on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, CastBox, and iHeartRadio. All those details are in the description box down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.
I just wanna hold you. I just wanna look into your eyes and tell